Grand Rising gods and goddesses. We are on our 20th saga of Intimate with TomBoi. So today we're going to talk about, should you spin the block in certain situations, and do people have the capability of changing? So if you met a cheater, will they always be a cheater? If you met a liar, will they always be a liar? Just all that little juicy stuff we're going to talk about. So we're going to really talk about is, are people able to forgive the person that hurt them because they either cheated or they lied to them, So are they actually worthy of spinning that block because of those things? We date people based on that first impression. And so you got with them for certain reasons. So we definitely got to get into that, because a lot of people don't want to spin the block, and they feel like you're always going to be the same. And for a lot of people, it depends on how the situation ended, if they should stay or not. So let's get into this.
Little freaking thing, police. Bust that wide open, bend them knees. I like it when you get kinky. Take that bra off, take that bra off, take it all off, take it all off, take that bra off, take that bra off, and throw them draws.
I love that song, Throw Them Draws. That was one of the first songs that I performed in Vegas at Mariposas. Any of y'all in the Mariposas area, that's off of Sahara and Decatur. I used to perform there, and I would perform my song Run That Water and this one, and those was the two favorites, especially Throw Them Draws. The comedians loved it and everything. So I really do like that song, Throw Them Draws. So let's get into this. Are people capable of changing? Are they worthy of you spinning the block on them? Or should you just move on and move forward and just leave it at what it was and why y'all broke up? Let's get into this. And of course, I have to tell my story. So I would like to go into a story of why I got married. Why I got married. Yes, I was married once before for 6 years. I had got married in August of 2012. And I was divorced by October of 2018. So I'm going to get into my story on spinning the block. So basically, this is how my story goes. I was in a relationship with one of my exes. And we had did a big celebration for her. It was for her birthday. She had her friends, her mother, sister, and everything. And I went all out. I was big on trying to get her a smaller purse. She always wanted to carry a big bag, and I'm nothing against it, but it be like, them bags attract a lot of shit, ladies. And sometimes I'm like, just simplify things, make stuff easier for you, So I was, into that. But I went and got her like some stuff from Coach, and got her a whole bunch of stuff. Just went all out for her birthday, Her friends was just talking about like, oh, your baby love you and all this, just had that good celebration. And so what happened was, a month later, after that, she had told me, oh, I think I want to start seeing other people. I think I'm interested in men and women. I'm not sure. So she was like on this fence of she didn't know where her sexuality was going. And she was, a L. She was a lesbian. So, it was like, huh? And basically, so at that point when she said that to me, I'm looking like, oh, so you wait till you have this big celebration. I spend all this bread on you. And now all of a sudden you want to explore your options. And so for me, I was like, fine. At that time, I had just started going on tour, um, basically going to different cities and just performing. And it was more like a pride tour. So I was doing a lot of pride gigs at that time. And so I was like, fine, do what you do, because I'm gonna do what I do. And along that time, I met a lot of women. I started dating a lot of women. I met a very beautiful queen in Philadelphia, and I have a lot of love for her until this day. We didn't get married. We probably should have. And basically, like, she was in a situation, and so her situation was kind of like sticky, but she didn't at that time didn't know if we should take it serious and all that. And sometimes she would come with me to shows and everything. Like I had a show in Raleigh, Carolina. She came with me. She came to my city. I showed her my city. She met my grandmother when she came, you know what I'm saying? And my crazy auntie, like and all that. And basically, like, she would go with me to shows sometimes, and we had like a lot of fun. And actually, like, we started doing kind of like a dating thing where I would drive to Philly every weekend to see her. Like, and from Milwaukee, Wisconsin to Philly, that's like a 12-hour drive. And it's not even just the drive. I'm gonna tell you how it is, right? When you leave the state of Ohio going into Pennsylvania, there is a $60 toll. I don't know if it's more now or what, but can you imagine that? So I got to pay a $60 toll to leave Ohio, go to Philly, a $60 toll back, plus the gas and all that. So I was really, really trying to make this thing work between me. I really did like her. I would send her gifts, all kind of things. Like met her mother, met her auntie, things of that nature. And so what happened was, like, we weren't necessarily together, but we were doing things as, like, what couples would do. And basically, I remember one day I said, what, you want to take this serious or not? Now remember, I am still in a relationship with my ex. Sort of, kind of, we're kind of on a break, but we're kind of not, because we still live together, all of these things. But I'm seeing other people, and she thought she wanted to see other people, but she wasn't. And so basically, the lady in Philly, she tells me, she says, you know what, don't just focus your time on me. If you got to see other people, do what you do. I know you got hormones, you got this going on and that too, so do your thing. And I'm like, are you sure? And I asked her, like, are you sure? And she says, yeah, I'm sure, right? So I'm happy to get ready. I'm getting ready to do a show in Chicago. I go to the mall because I gotta get some stuff for this show. I run into my ex-wife. Now, the thing about it was, she pulled me and she said, do you remember me? Because me and my ex-wife had met prior to that. And we ended up separating because my ex-wife, basically, she did some lying. And I told her she needed to do some growing up. And she didn't like the fact that I still wouldn't deal with her, right? So basically, she says, do you remember me? And I said, yeah. And I said her name. And she was like, "Oh, you remember my name, right?" And she just tells me how she, thanked me for telling her to, take some time to grow up and, just elevate herself. And so we start talking, we exchange numbers and all that, right? And remember, I still have, my boo thing in Philly. I got ladies in other cities, but I still got my boo thing in Philly. But she told me to do what I do. So at this time, me and my ex-wife, we started getting closer. We started going out. We started hanging out, right? And so I have this thing where, like, you not finna get the whole thing right off the bat, especially if I don't know, where you been, who you been sleeping with and all that. And I had this thing to where I had told myself I'm gonna have to stop giving out good sex because I started having women going crazy. And you know, that's the last thing you want. And so I said I'm gonna start giving out mediocre sex, not bad sex, just mediocre sex. Good enough that ain't nobody gonna say nothing bad about it. Hell yeah, you got the job done. So my ex-wife, she invites me over to a place, right? And I was trying to stick by that. I'm gonna give out this mediocre sex because I don't need no more crazy women in my life, right? And so now my ex, like I said, my ex-wife knew me prior. This is funny. This is throwback. Any of you millennials, y'all know about Black Planet. This is how me and my ex-wife met. We met through Black Planet. Black Planet, look, before TT, before look, like before Facebook was popping, Black Planet was the shiznit. Okay, so any of you millennials, what I'm saying, some of you Gen X's, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. Black Planet, like coming in them 2000s, that was the ish for teenagers, adults. I think the rapper Paul Wall talked about having a Black Planet page. So yeah, so we had met on on BP. You get what I'm saying? And that's when BP was the shiznit. Now it's like I don't know what happened. Black Planet was that was the spot to go to. So basically she knew how to girls were at me then, and they loved me then. And like I said, we used to hang out, and she remembers like me getting phone calls about you know cars on fire, all kind of stuff. Like I said, like women did some crazy things to me. Women shooting at me and all kind of stuff. So I had got to this point. Basically, I said, you know what? I'm gonna have to start giving out this mediocre sex because I'm not gonna have no more pow, no more burning of cars, no more bricks going through windows. Like the whole shebang. I need this to calm down. And so that's exactly what I did. And so, I leave, I go back to the house with my ex, and I get a text message from my ex-wife. Later on, like, I know these women ain't going crazy over that basic ass sex. We gonna need a redo. So I said, okay, So by this time, I know, like, what's going on with her. She knows what's going on with me. And I'm going to tell you, like, like I said, I'm upfront with women who I am, the poly life I have of the women and stuff. Like, so she knew I would go to Philly to see my woman in Philly. So it wasn't like, I kept things secret. She also knew about my ex. She knew about us in a place. So, like, I'm very forward a lot of times with, what's going on with me and who I'm dealing with, right? And so I give her the business. Like, fuck it, I'm gonna give you the business then. Like, what I'm saying? I ain't finna hold back, right? And so we start getting more and more closer, right? And at this time, like, I was like, I was leaning on that marriage thing. My grandmother was like, you need to stop with the shack and stuff and all that. And so after I would say a month and a half of me and my ex-wife just dating and being with each other, we decide that we want to get married, right? But we don't tell nobody in our family. All we do is we tell close friends. I have a meeting with all my close friends. We meet up. I had Sushi. If y'all don't know who DJ Sushi is, she is a core DJ. She came through. Just a lot of my friends. Jasmine came through. You know what I'm saying? I said I'm getting married, right? And a lot of people were like, "No, I don't think so. I don't think you're ready. I think you're too young. Yada yada." But I was like, "No, we finna do this." So we go to the courthouse and we just, we pay the money and get it done with, right? And so now my ex doesn't know anything about this. So of course, uh, um, pictures get posted about us getting married. This is how my ex finds out I'm getting married, right? But before I actually did get married, I'm telling my chick in Philly, like I said, we need to have dinner. I need to talk to you about something serious. And she tells me, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Don't you drive to Philly to tell me some upsetting news. And I said, okay. And I told her before I get married, I said, I'm finna get married. And she's mad at me. She is so mad at me. She is highly upset with me, right? And later on down the line, she comes and she says, you know what? I can't be mad at you because I told you to go do you. And so now I have to reap the repercussions of what happened, because if I would have just said, no, let's focus on us, maybe that ring would have been mine versus hers. And she said, but I'm going to tell you this, because she said, I got a lot of love for you and you a sweetie. She said, if that bitch fuck you over, she got problems with me. So basically, now my grandmother knew. My grandmother knew about me getting married. She was the one that told she told everybody, because now that's probably like the only family member that, I had no problem telling, because how close I am with my grandmother. Right? But my sister didn't like the situation because she liked my ex. And so she didn't like the situation. A lot of people didn't like the situation. I had a promoter in Chicago. She didn't like it. But then I had some people that were fine with it. I had a real close friend in Texas. She didn't like it at all. Um, because it was new for them. They're like who is this person? Like, she just popped up out of nowhere. And it wasn't that she popped up out of nowhere. They just weren't aware of her. You know what I'm saying? And so basically, um, around this time, I was doing a lot of study with through Israelites. I don't know if y'all know. I was doing it before then, but I definitely was doing it really heavy here then. And basically it was one of those things that this is a big reason on how I learned the Bible as well as I did. And I was studying with them for years, teenager going in, but my ex-wife, she found out, like, this is what I was doing. And so I was taking on certain practices, like I was, keeping the Sabbath on Saturday and all of that. And I already was like, eating clean food, so that didn't matter, but there's certain things. And so my ex-wife was like, well, how can you be in a relationship with me and this is what you study? I said, well, I studied because I'm learning a lot from them. And so she tells me, well, I'm gonna learn it too, right? And so first year of our marriage, pretty decent. But then I find out my ex-wife is trying to impress me by learning things of the Hebrew Israelites and stuff like that. So she said, I was doing a lot of stuff for you. So she wasn't being her true self. And so later on, her true self starts coming out, right? And she basically says that, this is her words now. Because if you ask my ex-wife, she'll say that we got a divorce because I wanted to be a Hebrew Israelite, which that is so not true. We got a divorce because she was being sneaky, she was being a liar, and she wasn't keeping it 1,000. You see what I'm saying? She was trying to basically leave me, per se, to go be with different type of niggas, women and shit, but she was trying to keep it on the low. And it was all in her phone. And she didn't know I could see all these things in her phone. Now, I'm not the one to go through your phone because I don't want you going through mine. I had women go through my phone and nah. You know what I'm saying? What happened was, my ex-wife happened to leave her phone in the car. Right? So I wasn't trying to go through her phone. None of that, right? And what happened was her phone was on vibrate. So she's calling me from the house phone. Because you know how you got those little cable packages where you got a house phone? Because nobody uses house phones. You know what I'm saying? You just use the house phone. You know, you telemarketers, you sent them there and all that, right? So she is calling my phone like, you see my phone? I'm like, no, I don't see your phone, right? And she just keeps calling it, keeps calling. She called my phone again. You sure you don't see it? I said, I'm positive I don't see it. So I'm thinking to myself, like, dude, why is she so geeked on seeing this phone, right? So all of a sudden I started to hear her phone buzz, her calling it, and I'm looking like, oh, okay, right? And so I happen to, like, I don't answer it, nothing like that, but I happen to just open up her phone. I see her talking hella shit about me, talking about some she can't wait to leave me, and yada yada yada. She don't care if she struggle. She don't need me like that. She'll go to her father's house and yada yada yada, and I'm not shit, yada yada, right? I see her saying all this shit in her phone, and I'm like, oh, on top of that, I see her like, she got a little sexting messages, with niggas that was by our house that's supposed to be friends and shit. She over there, I'm like, oh, so all of this is going on. Okay, right? I don't say nothing. I just collect my evidence. Because at this time, it was a lot of stuff that was going wrong in our marriage, and I didn't like it anyways. And I was like, you know what? I said, now I got what I need to get away from her motherfucking ass. So one day, taking the ex-wife to work, right? And so one of the niggas that would come by our house when we was living in Texas, right? He calls the phone. Now, and she got it on speakerphone. And I say, is that so and so? And she said, yeah. I said, tell that nigga I said he a hoe ass bitch ass nigga. And the nigga get quiet like, what? And he was like, you know what? I'm gonna get off the phone. I'm gonna let you go handle that, right? And then she said, yeah. So she was like, why would you talk like that to him? He ain't do that to you. No, I was like, no, I heard some things about this. I said, this nigga ain't worth a damn. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I don't fuck with niggas that ain't about shit. Now she don't know. I don't seen them doing all the little sexting and stuff. So ain't no telling what they was doing when I was at work. You get what I'm saying? Because one time I came home and this nigga was in my house. And I had to check on that. I said, I don't care what you do. Don't you ever have a man in my house when I'm not here. You know what I'm saying? That's just the biggest disrespect that you can do to a mass presenting is to have another man in the house where they pay bills and they are not there. You know what I'm saying? And so, she got it. She ain't doing no more. Right? But it just made me start thinking like a lot of stuff, right? So basically, now let me tell you how goofy these mugs is, right? She basically, she says, you need to apologize. I said, I ain't apologizing to no bitch ass nigga. Fuck that nigga. And fuck everything he stand for. Right? So, later she texts this nigga. Oh, I think I cleared it up. Or whatever. And he was like, you think they know about us? And I'm looking like, punk ass bitch. More evidence. Now, as I'm collecting my evidence, I'm not just keeping it for myself. I sent it to two of my closest friends to have it as backup. So they seeing all this shit along with me, right? So I'm like, save this. I'm gonna need this. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, I'll be damned if I like, you know what I'm saying? If I give her any motherfucking thing after this shit, right? So, anyways, something tragic happens. Her mother calls me. I have to call my ex-wife from work. Her father passes away. Like, wow, you know what I'm saying? And so, I calmed down a little bit because it's one of the moments. And basically, sum it all up. She was getting reckless with everybody off of her father passing. I'm talking about getting reckless with his woman, getting reckless just with everybody to the point where she's getting reckless with me, right? And so I said, she started talking real crazy to me, during the time. And I said, oh, okay, I got you, right? I said, because you know what? I'm trying to have compassion for you, but you don't push the wrong button. So I get a group message with everybody that she's talking to, right? And telling that she's going to leave and she's talking shit about me. I put them all in the message. And I send every message that she was posting and sending to them, plus how she was talking about them. Because not only was she talking about me, she was talking about them. She was talking about how they wasn't shit to other niggas. This shit was just like crazy, right? But not only did I do that, I brought some of her exes into the group conversation that, they was just waiting for somebody to get her because she did them wrong. And she finally met somebody that put her out there like that. And I'm talking about when she got exposed like that, all of a sudden, all I know is, she was like, oh, okay, you bogus. I said, nah, that's what you get. Ain't nobody bogus. Because remember, you was talking hella shit. So you need to stand up on all that shit you was talking. So now everybody can know who the hell you are and what they dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to try to put on this face as if you something else like you did me. And you're not. So I'm letting everybody know who you really are. And so basically, my ex-wife, long story short, she was trying to talk to my nephew because she knew how close we were. I grew up with my nieces and nephews. A lot of y'all know, all of my siblings are older than me on my mother's side and on my father's side. And so I grew up with my nieces and nephews. So she's trying to get my nephew to convince me on the situation. When I showed him what was going on, he said, he was like, yeah, he talking on her marriage back and all this. You know what I'm saying? And I said, no, fuck that, because she bogus as a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't no telling what she was lying about. Ain't no telling what she was 1,000 about. You know what I'm saying? I can't fuck with it, right? So, long story short, it takes me about 2.5 years to get the divorce finalized. And, I had to finally say something that made her do it. And finally, I get a divorce and I move on, right? And so, even up until this day, my ex-wife, every once in a while, we'll talk and she'll be like, well, we can have our family, we got the kids and all this. But I know she's still that same person. And so back to the subject of the matter is, would you spin the block, or do you think people can change if they are liars and if they're cheaters? In some cases, yes. But in some cases, no. And one thing that I know now still about my ex-wife is she hasn't changed. She is still that same person. So, no, I cannot spin the block on her. I cannot rekindle anything, And I told her, last year, I told her, I said, that ship has sailed, because it has. And some people, the ship has sailed and it's no returning. Some people, maybe you can return. And so this is where I'm getting into forgiving, because you know, you have to forgive yourself for allowing certain things to happen, and you have to forgive the person that did you wrong in order to get past a lot of things. You get what I'm saying? But you don't forget why you left the situation, you know. And so, can people change? And can they stop being liars? Can they stop being cheaters? Are they worth spending the block on? Now, think about this, right? I can't say that I was perfect. Even my lifestyle, I have cheated. You know, I have, right? I've learned, but I learned who I am. You know, and a lot of times women feel like because I haven't totally practiced a monogamous lifestyle that, you know, basically poly is all I know, and so maybe I need to practice that. Now, this is the thing. I have to want that for myself. And, you know, with me getting older, I actually do like the polyamorous lifestyle. Now, the thing about it is a lot of women that are monogamous are attracted to me. You see what I'm saying? And they feel that they can change that about me. And one thing I'm going to tell you is you cannot change someone. They have to want to change for themselves. And if you are dealing with somebody that happens to practice a different lifestyle than you or whatever like that, you have to accept them for who they are. And you can't tell them, well, you need to do this because this is going to be better for you, because you don't know what's better for them. You know, any lifestyle can be unhealthy. You can be in monogamy and it can be unhealthy. You can be in poly and it can be unhealthy. You know, but the thing about it is you have to still be true to yourself. You know what I'm saying? But do I believe that people can change? Yes. But only if they do it for themselves. So, if someone's a liar, can they start to tell the truth? Yeah. If someone is a cheater, can they stop being a cheater? Yeah. Maybe it takes the right person for them to get to that level, and not the right person that wants to make them be the person for them, but allow them to be the person for themselves. So, are some people worthy of spinning the block? Yes. If I was to spin the block now, because I haven't spin the block and gotten back in old relationships or rekindled them, but I would definitely spin the block for my ex in Philly, because I feel like we didn't get to experience things how we should have. And I know she's probably listening to this. I'm gonna probably tag her in this video. I'm gonna tag some other people though too, because I want to throw it off. I don't want y'all to know who she is. But I would definitely for her, because we didn't end badly. We just ended on a misunderstanding, and basically, you know, that was it. And some people are worthy of you spinning that block. You get what I'm saying? And some people can change. Some people stop being liars. Some people stop being cheaters. You know, because, you know, we have that thing once this. It's just like when people say, you know, you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. So, somewhere along the line, some of these hoes is housewives. So, that statement would be false. I mean, let's look at the storyline Pretty Woman. That's an old movie. My mom used to watch that movie, right? He took a hoe and turned her into a housewife, right? So if you're trying to say once a cheater, always a cheater, you're like almost condemning, like you're speaking that on there. So I want y'all to be mindful, like, you know, sometimes give people time, or sometimes it takes the right person for that person to change. For her, in this movie, it took for a rich man to take her off the street and show her how it is to be loved. To take a hoe and turn her into a housewife. Maybe for a liar, it takes for them to find spirituality or to find God and church and change their life around, or to find Islam and or to practice being a Hindu, maybe that's gonna change them from being a liar and a cheater. So I don't necessarily think people can't change and that they're not necessarily worthy of spending the block on, but you have to see it. Now, if I come back around and I see you still doing the same thing, or you're still reminding me of them same issues, you haven't changed. So no, you're not ready yet. But maybe you need more time. Or maybe I might not be the one for you. Maybe somebody else is going to get you to change. And that is fine. It was fun, as usual, gods and goddesses. I enjoy y'all coming and just listening to my stories and, just, being here. It definitely gives me great pleasure to talk with y'all each Sunday. We got to the 20th saga. Like I said, we gonna manifest this thing, get to 100 episodes. Let's do it. 100 sagas, we can do it. Alright, I want y'all to enjoy your Sunday. I want y'all to enjoy your week. Alright? Light, love, peace, abundance, and prosperity. Gods and goddesses.
Do a little striptease for me. Do that little freaking thing, please. Bust that wide open, bend them knees. I like it when you get kinky. Take that bra off, take that bra off, take it all off, take it all off, take that bra off, take that bra off, and throw them drawers. Just throw them drawers. Yeah, throw them drawers. Hey, throw them drawers. Oh, girl, throw them drawers. Take it all off, take it all off. Take that bra off, take that bra off. Take it all off, take it all off. Hey, and throw them drawers. Just throw them drawers. Yeah, throw them drawers. Hey, throw them drawers. Girl, throw them drawers.